Where am I?
Okay.
This is it. This is the intro. I'm introducing this podcast, which is known as Bad Boy Crimes, because it's a true crime podcast.
It is a
It's
true crime podcast. We
The
discussed the
best-
podcast. We discussed the crimes that other podcasts are too afraid to talk about, and I think
They
that's
won't
very
tell
important
you.
to discuss. They won't. They don't want you to know.
It's a grand cover-up. I believe that true crime podcasts are a CIA op to convince people that other crimes are not happening.
And we're the only true crime podcast not in the pocket of big true crime, the CIA.
It's true.
And we're reporting the hard hitting facts, folks.
It's quite true. One day we'll solve a crime on this podcast.
Maybe we'll solve the mystery man with 21 faces.
I
That would be so
certainly hope
fucking
so.
cool. You know, if we
If
had
we
to solve
solve
one, we
it-
have to solve that one.
Honestly, I mean, it's past the statute of limitations, right? Like, they didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, technically, they didn't directly kill anybody. I mean, there's
Yeah.
other crimes than just murder. Which, you know what? True crime podcasts don't talk about that either.
It's true.
It's
Name
really just
one other
these
true
people
crime
got murdered.
podcast. Name one other true crime podcast that talks about art theft. Huh? Yeah.
Or women being rude to you. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Hang on. You ever hear fucking My Favorite Murder talk about a candy factory?
No, I've actually listened to a couple of their episodes years ago.
I have not. I just had to Google what true crime podcasts exist because I don't know any
Yeah,
except this one.
And this is the only one that matters. I mean, they're fine. I think they're all probably kind of the same. They either are people talking about stories like what we do, or it's like somebody picks like one crime and is like, I'm going to just be an unpaid detective and then hope this blows up later.
Yeah. Which
And I'm not
I
in
don't
either of those.
respect.
I'm not into the format of our own podcast. No, I'm just kidding. It's fun.
It's a fun time. You ever watch true crime documentaries?
Not really. I don't really watch documentaries that often.
I watched the Pizza Boy Bomb one.
Excuse
You know
me?
that one?
No. A pizza boy
I don't-
bomb?
Yeah, Pizza
I don't like the
Boy
sound of that at all.
Bomb movie. Have you seen 30 Minutes or Less? With Jesse Eisenberg, Aziz Ansari, and Danny McBride, I believe?
That sounds
No.
familiar. Does it?
So it's based on this actual crime. This is not my bad boy, but I'm going to make it my bad boy. Fuck it. This is a
You
good
can have it.
story.
This could be your honorable mention if you want.
No, this is better than my actual one, so
Oh.
we're going to do
Okay,
this
sick.
one.
All right, that works for me, man.
We're getting right into it. So there's a man in 2003 who's a pizza delivery boy in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Uh,
That's not a good place to be. Anything, let alone a...
yeah. So he's like mid-40s pizza delivery man. And he gets a call to this like abandoned building to deliver a pizza. And he's like, this is Erie, Pennsylvania, kind of a small town,
Mm-hmm.
I believe. Let's look at Erie, Pennsylvania real quick. Population, wait for it, 100,000. So, you know, it's a
I almost went to
decent-sized
school in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
town.
There was a college that looked pretty cool, but it smelled very strongly of horse manure, and it might have just been the day that I was there, but I was like,
Can't have that on any day.
oh. Yeah, fuck horses,
Yeah,
man.
so, yeah, horses should not exist.
Yeah, if my coworker who doesn't listen to this podcast is listening, fuck your horses.
Horses suck. I'll be honest. Like, the joke is that horses suck so bad that they should just be glue. I don't even think glue is that good. What does glue really do for you on a
I
day-to-day
mean,
basis?
it did. I mean, like, what kind of glue are we talking? Are we talking about like fucking
Like a
Elmer's
glue
construction
stick?
paper glue?
A
Oh,
glue
those
stick?
suck. But like
Garbage.
a glue gun. I made a chair out of
You
cardboard
imagine
with
you're like
a glue gun.
you imagine you're like a championship horse in the horse races, and then you like stub your toe, and you have to be killed and turned into an Elmer's glue stick, and you're just like part of an 8-year-old's project. What an embarrassment! What a
It is
garbage
better than
animal!
being a horse.
It's just like it's all bad all the way down. Anyway, this man, he's a pizza boy bomb.
This
So
guy, he was a
gets,
pizza boy and a bomb.
he
A
was
modern
a
day
bomb.
Bomberman, folks.
Uh, really true, honestly. So he gets called to this abandoned building, and he's like, "I know this building. I know that it's abandoned. Why are people calling me there? But like, this is my job. I deliver pizzas." So he goes there,
A very
and he
noble
gets
profession to just, you don't even really care where
honestly,
you're going. You're like, I have to make this goddamn delivery.
it is a bit overdue to say, but pizza delivery drivers die on the job more than police officers. So I'm gonna come out and say pizza lives matter.
I mean, they really do. Now, if you cared about the environment, would you be making your pizzas from home? Yeah. Would you be using a pizza steel instead of a pizza stone because that gets you a better crust? Yeah, if you're pro like me. But
Yeah,
not
we
everybody is.
we all can't afford that. We're not all
Mm-mm.
living rich off true crime podcast money.
Not yet.
Not yet. Subscribe to the Patreon that doesn't exist. Anyway, so he delivers this thing, and there he gets jumped. He gets ambushed at this abandoned building. Who would have guessed? And they like lock a bomb around his neck.
Oh.
It's like a rock climbing harness, but it's explosive.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah,
That's such a strange way to like rig a bomb. But I mean, I guess you got you
I
use what
mean,
you
like, what are
have.
you gonna do? So that it's like if you try and break the lock, it's gonna detonate. If you try and disarm it, they had like 3 or 4 dummy bombs within the vest. That would be like
Yeah.
it's just wires hooked up to nothing. So like you're a bomb tech trying to like save this man's life, and it's like you're freaking out, and you cut a wire, and you're like, I think that did it, and like nothing happens. There was like a timer that wasn't connected to anything. It was wild. Um, Professional made bomb welded around his body or something. Um, and they're like, use this bomb, go into a bank and rob it with the bomb. I think they gave him a gun as well. Um, and so he's like, okay, I robbed the bank. They gave me like $2,000 or something. I don't think he got that much money.
I feel like
And
banks don't have as much money as you think they would.
oh yes,
Like
so
on hand, like they don't have a lot of cash.
yeah, so the he was given a note to give to the bank, and he demanded $250,000, and
He got 2,000.
he got 8,000. He got
Okay.
8,000.
All right. All right.
Still not
Still
close to the
bad.
goal. Still pretty bad. Um, and so he leaves the bank, and he gets a call on this given cell phone, and it's like there's a note in the bush. And he goes to the bush, he finds the note, and it's like the bomb's going to explode in 15 minutes unless you bring us the money, and then we'll deactivate it. And then that note like brings him to a different location, and then there's another note there that's like you have to go over here. So he's like trying to drive around the city after robbing a bank, um, and he doesn't get very far. The police stop him, and they're like, "Hey, buddy, like you just robbed a bank and you have a bomb strapped to you. What's the deal?" Um, It's
Hey,
not. It's
man.
not good.
What's happening? What are you doing
You
with
having
your life
you having
right
a rough
now?
day. You having a rough day. Um, literally, that's what police do. Just if we remember 2 weeks ago. Uh, so he gets stopped, and the police just like surround him like 50 feet away, just watching him with guns trained on him. Like, if you fucking do anything, because they think that he's the bomb guy, and he's like trying to explain that he's not the bomb guy.
It's like, I don't want to do this. Why
Like,
would I
yeah,
put this
like
around my neck?
yeah. And then like the bomb went off after 15 minutes because they wouldn't let him leave and do the things that he was supposed to do. So really, the police are the bad guys here.
When he went
Like
into
they,
the bank, did he like go in with his pizza boy outfit and like the bag? And he's like, "Did somebody order a pizza?" And then he just pulls a gun out of the bag.
that would be sick.
That would be
he did not
that
do
would be really funny.
He did not do that.
Then he deserves
Um,
whatever happened to him.
Well, I don't know about that. Um, so he did say, well, the police were talking to him. They did not attempt to disarm the bomb in any way. They only looked at it after it exploded to find out how it worked.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
like
he got in other words.
he got for sure. But yeah, like they were just like surrounding him, like you can't move, and he's like, "There's a bomb that's like going to kill me," and they're like, "Yeah, but like we don't want you to leave here."
Yeah.
So essentially, they killed him, which like, you know what, a cab. I'll say it. I'll say pizza lives matter.
All cats are babies.
Yeah, that's true.
I made that joke like almost a year ago.
That's still relevant.
It did well on Twitter because people are idiots.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he said, the guy with the bomb, Brian, he said that 3 unnamed black people put the bomb around his neck.
Oof.
Which I watched the documentary Evil Genius on Netflix. That's the one that I was talking about.
Okay.
It's Evil Genius, where this documentarian spends like 7 years trying to crack this case. Which, like, give up, buddy. What are you doing?
You're not a true
It's
crime
like-
podcast. That's not your job.
Yeah, like he's spending all his time. He's like going to Erie, Pennsylvania. He's talking to people who live in the town. He's talking to the bank teller. And like, you're spending all this time for a crime that like the police don't even care about. They solved it. The guy's dead.
No, that being said, we should absolutely move to Japan.
We should.
Become
We should.
documentarians. And solve
We'll
some damn
figure it
crimes. We'll figure it out. I mean,
They left some clues.
We can do it. I think there's enough time that some of these guys still have to be alive, right?
Yeah, it wasn't that.
Because these
long
weren't
ago.
old. These weren't old men doing this in the '80s.
No.
Which would honestly, that'd be even fucking funnier. If
That
they were
would
just
be
all,
great.
like,
If they were, like,
60-year-old men. I
in
mean,
the
they're probably
80s,
still
and now-
alive, anyways.
Yeah, they're like 92.
Yeah.
I would have all of them on at once. None
Defend
of them
yourselves.
speaking English, all speaking at the same time. It'd be a great episode. Yeah, so he gets exploded, and he says that there was 3 black men. So in the documentary, the guy, he didn't solve it. Like, it's not, nobody got convicted, but he like made a pretty convincing case for who it was, and he interviewed them and everything. And it was 2 white guys. I think
Really?
it was a white woman as well, which, who's surprised?
Oh my goodness, Squeaky's here. Did you hear her?
I heard something.
You want to go on the podcast?
Squeaky.
Squeaky, you have anything to say? Well, now she's being quiet.
I imagine, like, I know that it's a cat, but I imagine that Squeaky is just a rubber duck.
She's kind of a
Imagine
she's kind of a
you
rubber
just
duck. All right.
imagine you just have a rubber duck in your hand. Like, you want to say anything on the podcast?
And I refuse
And
to
you-
squeak it to just be
you
difficult.
don't squeak. Yeah, that's who you are, I think.
What, schizophrenic?
Yeah, I think you're just difficult.
Hey, I'm not that bad.
No, but I think at times you enjoy being difficult.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fun. It's fun being a problem.
that's true. Yeah, so that's basically this story. Turned out to be a white guy and a white woman, I think. Nobody really knows.
And he said there were 3 unnamed black men.
Yeah, and
Well,
I
that's
don't
just
know.
racist.
Yeah, I don't know where that race. Like, if he was told that he should say that, or if he was just like, "Look, I know who it was, but like, I'm not gonna snitch. Like, we gotta take down the black people in Erie, Pennsylvania," which could have been. Or they hired 3 black men to do it. Who's to say? But I feel like racism is involved somewhere.
Yeah, this doesn't feel. This is not a Black Lives Matter case. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's some foul play afoot, I think.
Yeah.
But Black lives do matter. I want to be
It's
the
true.
first person to say that.
I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, just so we're
I-
clear.
Stop Asian hate.
Really? Yeah. R.I.P. Our good friends.
Biggie Smalls.
No. DMX.
I just said that because that was the first person I could think of who was dead. It's,
Really?
I
Not the 2 people who died like yesterday.
No, I
Very
honestly, I
famously.
forgot. Very famously, they had a suicide pact.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna believe that unironically now. They were.
I mean, there's no
cahoots.
proof that they didn't.
So I mean, who's to say that they didn't, other than reason?
But you're going to believe
Logic.
what the Queen says?
She's old. Yeah, she's.
The
We do not
colonizer?
stand the royal family. So it was
No.
very funny when Prince Philip, the living corpse that looked like he belonged in like a Dark Souls game.
Oh, he died in the prime of his death.
Yeah. Seriously, he looks like one of those deranged NPCs in Dark Souls that just like sits there and laughs at you.
He looks like his name is Deckard.
Yeah.
I
And
don't-
he,
I don't
and he have
really
a
know
very
what that
long
means.
title.
Yeah. Duke of Addenbury.
Fuck the royals.
That's
I
just
really-
his actual title.
Yeah, I was like- I was-
pronounced incorrectly.
He has a someone mod Dark Souls, add Prince Philip
and nothing else.
and nothing else. Just add him as a boss fight, and he doesn't do anything. I just
He
want
just-
the name and the health bar at the bottom of the screen.
The health bar starts empty.
Yeah, he just no, it's full, but you hit him once with anything, and he just instantly dies. You dodge roll into him, and he just explodes.
You open a Four Loko within a mile of his vicinity.
Also, mod Dark Souls so that instead of Estus flasks, it's just 4 locos, and they make your controls a little silly. So sometimes they
be-
put in the wrong inputs. That'd be funny.
Just only sometimes. A lot of the
Yeah.
games, when you do drunk controls, they just flip them.
Oh no!
think
You have
it's
to just
like-
make it very confusing.
It's like every 18 directions, it does one
other
to the
one.
left.
well, that's kind
It's
of
not-
what it.
It's not opposite. It's like when you do left, it goes down.
and then it's never consistent. Like there's you
Yeah.
don't like you think you're getting a hang of it, and then it changes again.
Yeah.
That's a great system. We should be game developers.
We should be game developers.
Bad
This
Boy
is the
Crime
smartest
Studios.
thing.
Yeah.
This is the smartest. A walking simulator, but just you're drunk.
And you're just you're trying to solve a crime. It's a walking simulator where you pretend to be a documentarian or something. You're solving a cold case, and then the joke is that you never solve it, and you're just a belligerent drunk.
The good ending is that you die.
Yeah, you just kill yourself.
The good ending is you get a deal with Netflix, and then you're like, okay, this is coming to a close, and then you get a deal, and then you die. Either of
What's
alcoholism.
the bad ending?
The bad ending is you solve the crime, but you solve it incorrectly.
And then the real crime person kills you, but you don't see it. But like you're like taking a shit or
The guy
something,
who
and
did it, who officially got away with it after your investigation, decides to kill you.
Yeah, just as like a.
He's also dumb. But it's multiplayer PvP, so somebody else is playing that guy.
Yeah, you could summon in other documentarians, and occasionally they'll just kill you. A game with no combat occasionally has
There's just
bar fights.
There's just a single button for a fatality that only shows up for 25 frames. You can press it.
Bethesda Studios, if you want to contact us instead of making the next Elder Scrolls game, I think
Infinity Ward. I think you'd be great with this.
It's just Call of Duty, but instead of guns, you just drink. And you
Harmonix, if you want to
throw
get
the bottle when
this.
you're done. Blizzard, I don't want Blizzard working on this.
No, Blizzard,
sucks now, man.
Blizzard, go away. Just make Diablo 4 and don't release it.
Dude, are they going to make Diablo 4?
I hope not. I hope everything's done.
Because Diablo 3 wasn't even really that. I didn't play a lot of it, but from what I played,
No, I don't think
this is
anybody
stupid.
did.
They gave it to me for free because I bought an expansion for World of Warcraft, and they're like, "Have Diablo 3," and I'm like, "Okay," and I played it for 2 hours, and I'm like, "This wasn't worth downloading to my computer for nothing."
Yeah, I love Diablo 2. I played that forever.
Yeah,
when it came out.
Old school Blizzard stuff was great. Even World of Warcraft, the first expansion was pretty tight, and then it just was shitty. I mean, it's I played the most recent one and it's fine, but I don't know, man. Imagine. I mean, I'm not playing it anymore. I switched to Final Fantasy 14, so it can't be that good.
Yeah, Square Enix, do this walking simulator alcoholism game.
And everybody's anime. Oh, that would be sick.
Yeah.
I'm such a Square Enix fanboy, man. It's bad.
Yeah. Anyway, so the end of the crime is the documentarian pretty much solved it, and then the guy who was guilty died of old age.
Yeah. Sick.
So nobody faced any consequences, and the people who should have, the police, mind you, did not. They got away scot-free.
Really makes you think. Do they really protect and serve? Who's to say?
Who is to say?
And that's your bad boy thought of the week.
Yeah, think about that.
Think about that. Police, get on the podcast and defend yourselves.
I would not have a cop on this show.
I specifically want the cop who gave me that traffic ticket on the podcast. I'd be like, hey, man, really?
What are you doing?
What the fuck was
that
about?
You got a quota? You got a friggin' quota?
Dude, it's so annoying driving through that because now I'm being a good boy. I'm going 55 because I don't want to get another $500 fucking ticket. And
Yeesh.
Everybody's zooming past me. They're weaving, speeding past me because I'm going I'm even going a little over 55 if we're being honest, but I'm not going what they assume to be 65 and being the actual speed limit. And I'm like, what you could pull over 100 people right now.
Yeah.
And not me. What the fuck?
Honestly, it's racism at its highest. No cap.
They don't like Italians in this part of the country. I'll tell you what.
You're all tied up with organized crime. Yeah, the rule is
Yeah.
don't break the law while you're breaking the law. You know.
I mean, yeah. Have I talked about the drug runner court case that I sat in on?
You have not.
Maybe it was on an old. I mean, maybe it was on an old episode that we don't have listed
I don't
anymore.
know this story.
Okay, so in high school, I like for my senior project, like instead of having exams and like a full spring semester, you dip out in like May and you go do something. And so mine was at like the U.S. Attorney's office. And so a lot of that was really just sitting around and like talking to lawyer people about what being a lawyer is. And obviously, I'm a lawyer now, so this worked out for my career. But
It rules to be a lawyer, I bet.
We basically just like sit in on court cases. It really doesn't, like, because it's a lot of just like fucking like showing up and like nothing happening. And so we'd go to court cases and they would, you know, talk about. It was a lot of like selecting the jury or just like all this preliminary bullshit. But there were like two cases that I sat in on where like things actually happened. I think one of them was like they gave the hearing or the sentencing rather for this one girl who was like, I think she was abusing and also distributing like not Adderall but like some sort of like study drug, and she was in law school, so it was pretty funny that like future lawyer was in trouble with the law, and the judge was like, "Good luck on the bar exam." And I remember that like making the paper, and I was like, "Hey, I was there for that."
That's good. I feel like judges do get a lot of good owns.
Oh yeah, no, they're very funny. Judges are very, very silly people, because like they can just afford to be like rude and no one can like
because
no one can fuck with them.
They're the highest authority in the
room
area.
In the room, their word is law.
Yeah.
Even other than maybe the bailiff. The bailiff might have some.
Well, the bailiff listens to the judge though. He's more powerful than everybody else, but the judge is like, bailiff, get him. Bring in the dancing lobsters.
They're like, let's get them, boys. And then the imposter is sus.
Got him.
That was for...
It was for nobody.
That was for nobody who listens to this. But if they somehow are, hello.
Hello. I hope you enjoy.
The other case I was sitting in on was this guy who... he basically had this like oxy, I don't remember what kind of painkiller it was, but it was a heavy narcotic painkiller, right? I think it was oxy. And he would have people in Florida like go to clinics and be like, my back hurts, and they'd be like, here's a ton of drugs. And they're like, okay, thanks. And then they would just take those drugs, drive them up to Boston, and then sell them. Because apparently it's like a lot cheaper to acquire those in Florida and a lot easier because they just like hand them out to anybody. And the guy who was running this operation, he was very, very like, he was a smart guy. He didn't use any of it. He didn't like even drink.
That's rule 8 of the 10 crack commandments.
Yeah, don't get high on your supply. He didn't get high on anything. He was this very like clearly smart, like, you know, just well-spoken dude. And
did he listen to the Dropkick Murphys?
I don't think so.
I'm shipping up to Boston.
Well, and the only reason why I got caught is because one of the guys he had running stuff, was speeding, and when he got pulled over, he just like had the drugs sitting in his.
This is what I'm talking about.
It's like,
you
dude, just
don't break
put him
the
in the
law
trunk.
while you're breaking the law.
Yeah, just like no one, he's not gonna like the guy's not gonna get mad if you're an hour later than what you're supposed to be if you have all the shit, you know.
You
I would
gotta
be like,
so
I was
busy doing
following
one
the speed
crime.
limit.
You got to be so busy doing one crime that you can't do any others because they'll get you
or
on other shit.
or speed, and they're like not gonna just randomly search your car. That never happens.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have your shit just like sitting, you don't have just like pill bottles just sitting in your passenger seat. They're not going to be
Yeah.
like, we're going to just randomly search your trunk right now. Like they don't fucking care. They're going to give you their speeding ticket and like get on with their life.
Yeah. Folks, we're halfway through the episode. Why don't you go ahead and give us 5 stars on iTunes?
Yeah, leave us a review. Follow the Twitter.
You could take it away at any time, but just like do it now.
Join
and
the
then forget
Discord.
about it.
Join the Discord because I guess this week, because it's in the future when you're hearing this, we will be doing a team watch, a group watch of Let's Go to Prison. Right?
The greatest movie.
The greatest movie, the greatest film of all time. We're going to be doing that as a community. It'll be real fun. So if you're not already in the Discord, join the Discord and tune in with us. It'll be a good time. And that's it. Those are the plugs.
That's it.
Those are the mid-episode plugs.
I feel like nobody gets to the end. So.
And this episode is sponsored by Skillshare.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah, we don't have sponsors because if we did, we wouldn't be able to tell you these amazing crimes. Honestly, I think every company is trying to shut down true crime podcasts.
What do you mean by that?
Like they're only supporting the true crime podcasts that talk about crimes that everybody knows.
It is true. They all talk about the same ones. I feel like we at least dig up something. I mean, there was a stretch where we were digging up some very basic ones. But I feel like we also
trying
bring
to
up
get sponsored.
we but also like we do bring up some like weird shit. You know, I think there's value in that.
Yeah,
There's weird stuff you haven't heard about. Not even necessarily because it's a crime, just like they're interesting stories.
yeah
Like the Mystery Man with 21
fun.
Faces. If you haven't checked out the last episode, even just skip towards the end and listen to that last story. It's very good.
It's very good. This is a time that I'll say don't read the Wikipedia. This is a time where our episode is better.
Wow, that's high praise.
Other crimes that we've talked about, you can go ahead and read the Wikipedia.
I really spun a narrative last time.
You really got into a honeyed funk, as they say.
I never heard that before in my life. What the fuck?
People say it, I'm sure of it.
Did you just make that up?
It was just in my head. It just felt right to say.
All right. Oh, another plug. I've been streaming again. Robinson B. Caruso on Twitch. I've been streaming Dark Souls 3 because that's the most palatable game I have to play on my laptop. And the stream doesn't run that great, but I am streaming. So
Yeah, you had a packed house last time.
I was very surprised at the turnout. For a person with like 50 followers, having like 11 or something people,
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
it's pretty good.
If
everybody who listened to this podcast also joined,
it would be a larger number.
it would be 8,000.
Yeah, it would be that many. Maybe.
If everybody that ever listened, it'd be closer.
Yeah. How's your week? Any Candy Factory stories for the fans?
It was a down week for reasons that I cannot get into.
Dark.
Yeah, there's a lot of like honestly, I'm gonna say there's a lot of death. That's just the reality
At
of
the
it.
factory?
Not inside the factory, but inside the hearts of people inside the factory.
Ooh, is it the
Um,
Nigerian perhaps?
who's to
Did his wife that he was like maybe cheating on die?
say? No,
Uh,
that is not the case.
okay, well, I would never want to slander him, so I take back those claims. Strike them from the record.
Yeah, I mean, DMX, R.I.P. Prince Philip, R.I.P. Biggie Smalls, R.I.P. Um,
Well, maybe
fucking
not R.I.P.
Queen
Fingers
Elizabeth,
crossed.
Queen Elizabeth, hit me up. I know you're single. You
That would be pretty sick to like slink in as a
just slide in the DMs.
slide into the British monarchy like right at the end. Be like, I'm a prince, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
Would I get to
yeah.
be a king?
No, because he wasn't a king, right? He was a
No,
prince.
you're a prince, but if Queen Elizabeth kicked the bucket, would then I be the king?
Yeah.
That'd be
I
really
think
speed running the whole royal thing, you know?
I think Prince Charles would be furious
I don't
because
even know
he's
which one
already
that
like
is. I know Prince Andrew's the one who's friends with
whoever's
Epstein.
whoever's next in line.
They're probably all
They would be
pedophiles.
furious. Oh yeah, absolutely. You think the Queen downloaded Tinder?
I don't think I no. She
You think
probably
the
got like the
Queen?
league.
She probably got like Ancestry.com, for being honest.
That's so crazy that they're like. I guess they're or like they're not first cousins, but they're like second cousins or more than that.
It's like, yeah, I don't know.
That's still too much of a
It's royal blood.
yeah. That's you can't be doing that. I mean, no wonder they all look the way they do. You know.
Yeah, that's all we'll say about that. That's the Queen.
Shout out to
I
Prince
think that
Harry
she's.
and Meghan Markle.
Yep, good job, Megan. I don't know what you did to this day. I don't know why you're there, but good job.
She was in Suits.
Oh, all right.
I
Never watched.
truly think that's it.
Well, good job. You you've infiltrated.
Folks, you did it.
If you were to infiltrate one powerful family in the world, who would it be?
Um, just like for fun, or like, am I trying to?
Well, that's for you to decide.
Okay, fair enough. I feel like saying the Clintons is a really easy answer. Um,
I would not want to be part of the Clintons.
no, like if I was doing it to sabotage them in the future, sure. But
Like
not
if
as
you're
like
in the
for
Clintons, like Chelsea Clinton's just going to talk to you about diarrhea every time you're around. It's like, what are you doing, lady?
I mean, honestly, Kim Kardashian West, I'll slide into those DMs.
I would love if Kim adopted me.
If I married Kim and then we both adopted you,
That would rule,
that would
actually.
be so funny. Yeah, no, I love Kim. She's great.
Kim is great. I think she's underrated.
Yeah, I've been a fan of her from the jump. You know,
I think that she could do anything that she wants. I think that she's
maybe even me.
limiting, yeah, if she wanted to. I guarantee you she could. Um,
Yeah,
I think that
she
she's
really wouldn't have to work
intentional.
that hard to make that happen.
No, I think she's intentionally limiting herself to where she feels society deems her lane, as it were. I
You know,
think that she's
I think
afraid to go out of like the makeup, perfume, fashion stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's not dumb.
No, she's absolutely not dumb.
Um,
I think that she's the mastermind. Everyone says that Chris is the mastermind, but Chris is she's got some issues.
she's just kind of leveraging everybody else. She doesn't really. I feel like
Yeah,
at
she's
least
just
now
like, how
everybody
many of
else
my
is.
daughters can I get in Playboy? And I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of
I mean,
how she
maybe
writes.
Chris might have like kick-started everything, but I don't think she's really in control of anything now. This
No, I
is
think
a
Kim is the Empire.
pop culture podcast.
Kim is the Empire, and I think that if Chris dies soon, Kim is going to branch out hard.
And do her own
I,
thing. I think she's
I
going to
think,
keep
yeah.
Kanye's last name, like the
I
Kardashian
am
last name.
curious.
I think that's part of her branding now, right?
Yeah, I'm curious how that's going to work. I think it makes sense because all her stuff is like KKW.
Yeah,
You can't do KK because that's Khalifa Kush, as we all know.
and it's one letter away from something. Like if there's two Ks, what's the third letter if there is one? It could go in a lot of ways. And one might assume it goes into one particular way if you don't have a different letter there to say that it doesn't.
Yeah,
You know?
that's going to end up in a lot of vandalism, I think.
Yeah. It's hard to turn a W into a K.
Yeah,
It's very easy to add a K to two other Ks.
yeah. That's what happened to Pac-Man. That's why his name is Pac-Man.
What was it before?
It was supposed to be Puck-Man, which makes sense because he looks like
that
a
probably
puck.
turned into fuck, man.
Yeah, because you just scratch out the circle of the P.
Pakumenu.
Yeah.
That's how they
I
say
mean,
it.
I wasn't gonna do that, but
That's how they say it in Japan.
folks, stop Asian hate.
That was not hate. I was just that's because they like with Japanese you have to use the characters to make phonetic English sounds, and that doesn't necessarily like add up
No,
to
go
the
on.
same sounds. You know what I mean? No. I'm like because in like Japanese people love you. I'm digging myself out of this hole. Japanese people really enjoy saying English stuff, but like if they're not well versed in the English language, and not everybody has to be. I'm not saying everybody needs to learn English, but they like using English words for things in a lot of ways, like how white Americans like putting Japanese characters on them, right? So basically, I didn't say anything wrong.
All right, I'll allow it. I mean, I don't know if you needed to say it, but
I
sure.
didn't need to say it, but it's fine.
Since you did say it.
Since I did say it, I'm going to defend myself, and I'm just saying that is how it would be phonetically spelled with Japanese characters that are trying to sound like English words, and that's it.
All right, very informative.
That's why I like watching JoJo's
Informational
Bizarre.
talk.
That's why I like watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because they say like all the characters have like magic ghost things that are named after like bands or like musicians, like all English bands and musicians, and or songs. And so it's fun just hearing them yell those, and it's not exactly like it's the Japanese characters being worked into an approximation of the English word, and that's fun for me.
All right.
Not in a racist way.
Let's move
anyway. I love Japan. In fact, that's where our next crime is.
Oh.
I got another one from Glorious Nippon, which is Japan. So you know how on Twitter, people like to talk about how much they want to die.
Mm-hmm. I've done that several times.
Happens every day.
I forget that real life isn't Twitter sometimes.
That's rough.
I've had the situation where someone at work was like, "Man, I'm ready for this week to be over," and I was like, "I'm ready for this life to be over," and they're like, "What?"
What? Yeah. Yeah, I do that sometimes too, and they're like, "Don't say that," and I'm like, "No, I mean, it's like it's not super serious."
It's just like a general feeling. It's not like
I'm just vibing. Like don't worry, God, I don't want. As soon as I leave your eye line, I don't want you to think about me at all, let alone this conversation. So just, yeah. But people do that on Twitter. They talk about how much they want to die. Well, what if one inventive young man was like, "Let's help those people out."
And
this
is Dr. Kevorkian.
No, this is
Japanese.
Takahiro Shiraishi, I think is how you pronounce his last name. Or yeah, I think that is yeah. Because I'm reading it on an English publication, so the first name's going to be first. And it's not like where if you're reading, because with Japanese, like when somebody is speaking in Japanese, they would put the last name first. So
Yeah.
Takahiro, our friend Takahiro, he was going through Twitter and he was seeing many young women go, man, I want to die. And he's like, I am going to be a good Samaritan. And so what he would do with, I believe, 9 total people, only 8 were women. So I don't know how that the other individual, well, I'm assuming is a man, but this was a recent thing, 2017. So who's to say, right? Yeah, exactly. He would go on Twitter and be like, yeah, man, I also want to die. We should hang out and maybe die together. And they're like, okay. And then they would, I guess, go to his apartment and he would just murder these people. And not just like murder them, but like this one is not I started it out trying to make it sound funny. This isn't funny. This isn't like last week. And he would chop them up.
That's
as Nate from Survivor season 13 Cook Islands would say, he chopped them up like poop, which is a real deep cut reference to a bad season.
Not a great phrase. I feel like that's worse than honeyed funk.
Yeah, I don't know why somebody would chop anything up. Like, I don't know what chopping something up like poop means. I don't know what context anyone would see some poop and be like, well, this needs to be in smaller
is too large
amounts. Yeah, I need to break this down and make this manageable.
You know what? Come on the show and defend yourself.
Nate from Survivor season 13, get on the podcast. Well, there's some criminals from the Survivor community we could get on here. Anyway, so he would lure people to his apartment and murder them. And everyone, it's another case of, and this guy was like 27. Everyone's like, oh yeah, he's a nice guy. He's quiet, but nothing shady about him, which is really how it always goes. Yeah. We got a view of his apartment, which has a square meterage of 13.5. Some of which is a loft. So Japanese apartments are very teeny weeny.
Yeah.
Teeny weeny being the professional terminology.
Yeah, I do believe they're called teeny weeny houses.
Yeah. And before he was a big murderer guy, he was a scout for the various sex parlors in.
They scout that? Like a talent agent?
You're basically a talent agent to like trick young women into working at the I guess not brothels, but they're
a sex house.
Yeah, sex house basically. I think they're called soap houses.
Interesting.
In Japanese. I mean, yeah. From my knowledge of playing the Yakuza games, they're called soap houses.
Is he just going up to women at the mall, or is he like, like a comedy agent would go to an open mic and scout the best comedians there, or like a baseball scout would go to a little league game? Probably not a little league game, but
Well, I think I guess very fittingly, he used Twitter to recruit the potential prostitutes, which I think really foreshadowed the boom of OnlyFans, if we're being honest here.
I'll allow it.
And so while he was, I don't think this is totally legal. So he'd been arrested for this. A lot of women, he developed a reputation for being kind of a creeper, which, makes sense. And honestly, the guy, kind of handsome dude. Like he, you know, he wasn't like a total weirdo looking kind of guy, right? For this sort of a thing. So eventually, after being arrested, he was like, you know what? Suicide is cool.
Yeah.
And then so he started doing the same thing where instead of reaching out to would-be prostitutes, he's like, let's just let's kill some folks. So with the women, some of which include women in their late teens. So it says teenagers, but I think they're like, 18, 19 or whatever well, I guess at the time
the age of consent in Japan was very low.
Yeah. Certain other podcast that I listen to has a host that makes a point of knowing what that is.
And I do not.
I think it's like 13 or 16. They're going to raise it, I think. Like
I believe they did raise it.
Yeah, very recently.
Yeah.
Which is good. As much as I love Japan, they could have worked on that, and I'm glad that they did.
They've done some things incorrectly.
They've made a few oopsies in their time, but I'm glad that they're course correcting. We all make mistakes. So yeah, he would rape him and then kill him. Oh, the guy who was involved, he killed the boyfriend of one of the women who he also killed so that the boyfriend wouldn't talk. Which is pretty funny. He'd be like, by the way, your girlfriend killed herself, and I don't want you to say anything about it, so you're going to have to kill yourself, too. I don't want anyone
to know that she did that yet.
Yeah. And I think killing the... a lot of these women also had girlfriends. Man, these girlfriends had it rough if they're like, I want to kill myself, and their boys just like, Dragon Quest is fun.
That is...
or they're just busy playing Monster Hunter.
Yeah. That is a lot of things that men do, is they're like, their girlfriend's having like a panic attack, and they're just like glancing at their TV every 15 seconds. Like, oh, babe, are you good? Like, hang on a sec.
Hold on. It's Tribal Council right now. I need to watch this.
Yeah. I gotta see how they vote.
But if it was me, I'd be like, I already know how this is going to go down. It's going to go like this. And I'll be right, and I'll be like, ha, I fucking hate this show. And then I keep watching it.
And she's just hyperventilating on the floor.
Yeah, she's like, she has a gun. And I'm just like, hold on a second. I need to see the scenes for next week's episode. Christ.
I gotta be able to get my theories in early.
But it's also very funny with this is apparently the chain of Twitter activity was what helped catch him. So live by the Twitter, die by the Twitter. One of the greatest cancellations of all time in many ways. Yeah. Two of his accounts were called I Want to Die and A Professional at Hanging, with the handle at Hanging Pro.
It's pretty on the nose.
He had 504 followers on that account, I think.
That was pretty good.
Which is just for a account dedicated, and he's got like this anime profile picture of a guy whose like wrist he's doing a peace sign. He's got like cut marks on his wrist, and his like neck has like the like red abrasive mark from like hanging yourself. He's got red eyes. It's honestly pretty.
It's a look.
It's really funny.
An aesthetic for sure.
Yeah, 500 follows on an account just to just for killing themselves.
What are those followers doing now?
And then he eventually pleaded guilty, and I think very recently was sentenced to death.
That's fitting. It's full circle.
Is he gonna be hung for his that would be pretty karmically fun.
What are the methods of the death penalty in Japan?
I
Do they
don't.
do lethal injection?
I think there's a. I don't think so.
What if they did beheading? I feel like that.
Executions are hanging out by hanging. Yeah, so that's hilarious.
He did it.
He went full circle. Okay, you know what? Actually, this crime is funny.
I think that we should. Like, I don't believe in the death penalty, but if we're gonna have it, we should do beheadings.
What? Oh, beheadings. I thought you said battings. I was like, you just beat
that
someone
would-
with a baseball bat?
Just pinata. Death by pinata.
Or somebody just gets hit with, like, hit with a baseball bat, which happens in Danganronpa, which is a visual novel.
Very cool.
Yeah. Good games.
Sure.
Well, the first two. The third game sucked.
Sure. Yeah, death by pinata. That could be something. I think beheading.
What, the person
good.
is the pinata?
Yeah. They get strung up and then
Somebody's blindfolded and just has to, like, start swinging. That sounds like a Danganronpa execution.
This is all stuff that just like violent. You get it.
I get it, man. I've played enough Japanese visual novels about murder that this is all in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
I should just start reading through a crime from like one of the Danganronpa games at one of these episodes. Just play it completely straight. Yeah. That'd be funny.
That would be good. That's another crime that other true crime podcast will not tell you.
Because it's not true.
Well,
I mean, it's not factual. It's not something that really happened. But what is truth, really? You know, it is a metaphysical concept.
We all have our own truths. And,
And I speak the truth very regularly on this podcast. In many ways, more often than I should.
In the recent years, alternative facts have come to light. And where are these developers getting these crime ideas for their video games, right? If not reality.
Yeah.
A lot of truth comes out of creativity.
And fiction impacts reality, which also it does, but like that sucks. You know what I mean?
Like imitating criminals.
Well, because I think some people will watch media or something and then like either get desensitized to certain concepts or like it'll normalize certain things, and like that's like people just don't have the critical thinking to like look at something problematic and be like, oh well, like this is problematic and I can watch it and not like become a Nazi. But like for example, the anime Attack on Titan has a lot of like it's like pro genocide. It's very pro like Nazi. It's pro like subtly. This is all like super subtextual stuff, and like the guy who writes it is like pro all of these things. It's
Great.
Very much pro Japanese imperialism. And like people get mad at other people for like watching it or reading the manga or whatever. And it's like, dude, like just don't be an idiot. Just like you can read the story and be like, oh, this shit's fucked up. But like, I'm not going to like condone it. You know? I don't know.
I think a lot of people lose the message of something by loving the main character.
Well, I mean, I think the problem with it is that the message is like definitely, it's not like genocide's bad and the main character is pro-genocide. They're like, who's to say if genocide's bad? And the main character is in favor of it. I think that's the message that.
Look, I think 9/11 sucked ass, but the people who did it, they thought it was good. So really,
who's to say? Folks. That's another little thought we could leave you with for this episode.
A lot of our thoughts ends with who's to say. We're to say. You know what? We're in charge here. I'm Judge Judy and Executioner on this podcast, and I say...
Judge Judy and Executioner.
What's the phrase?
Judge, jury, and executioner.
But she doesn't have a jury. She does everything by herself.
That is powerful. I'd love to be Judge Judy.
Judge Judy, come on the podcast.
Judge Coach. Now that would be a show.
Judith Shineland? Come on.
Is she even a real judge?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's like the highest paid TV personality in history, I think.
Like, because of time in the game, or like...
Judith Shineland, American prosecutor.
She's probably not paid that much per episode, but she probably cranks out so much content, right?
She absolutely does. Highest paid TV star, earning $47 million per year.
Yeah. That's just because she's like cranking out like 365 episodes.
She works 52 days per year, so that's once a week, and she earns $900,000 per work day.
I bet she, I mean...
She's worth $400 million.
But how many? I mean, but they're definitely like taping like 10 episodes a day or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She works once a week though. Like the cases are like 30 minutes probably, because she's just like, "What's your story? Shut up, other guy. Tell me your story. Okay, both of you shut up. Just pay him $800. Go home."
I'd go on there and be like, "This girl ghosted me on Tinder," and she'd be like, "Kill yourself," and I'd be like, "Well, Judge Judy said so."
Convincing. There are those people. This might be a future story that we talk about because we are coming to a close. But there are those guys that sue each other just to get on like courtroom TV.
That sucks.
They're like friends that are just like, I'm gonna sue my friend for $700 because he borrowed my car and like got an fender bender or something. They're just trying to.
They're gaming the system, which is very ignoble.
You can't be trying to troll Judith Shineland.
She is a judge. She has
That's
honor.
True. She's honorable.
In many ways.
You know the game For Honor? It's about Judge Judy.
And she's also a samurai.
She could be. Longest serving judge in a courtroom themed programming history. How about
that is certainly a fact. And if you're not careful, it might be a little fun.
Yeah. It's just 5 children. How about that?
You're just going down the Wikipedia, or
yeah, I'm just.
Which is in many ways how this podcast works.
I do just open a Wikipedia page and just, I don't even read it in order. In 2005, she was making $15 million per year. By 2007, it was $95 million. Now that's a raise. That's a lot.
Yeah.
No. This is wrong. Never mind. Disregard everything that I just said.
Okay. Well,
$147 million in 2017. That's honestly that's too much money.
She should give back to the people.
Who's to say?
Not us. And I think with that, that's the episode. So
you know what? I hope you liked it. This is another banger. Everybody loves it. Plugs, just like go to 30 minutes.
Go back to the past if you forgot what the plugs were.
If you forgot, we already did them, so we can end concisely on a witticism. You know, you just end nicely and roundly, like we're known for.
Yeah, we're very much known for not having endings that trail off for like 10 minutes.
We're very much like The Sopranos in that this podcast cuts to black hard.
Yeah, like right about now.
Good night.
You should absolutely cut it at right about now.
I definitely should.
Like halfway, if you can get it halfway through now, that'd be very funny.
Or I'll just leave all of this in.
Or yeah, and then the audience could be like, "Oh, that would have been good."
That would have been good if we cut it when he said right about now.